The breaking news, stay at home. That is the order tonight from 4 state governors as the coronavirus
Developing overnight,
pandemic
hospitals
spreads.
and healthcare
New
workers
York,
are bracing for
California,
an
Illinois,
onslaught
and
of
Connecticut.
coronavirus patients.
The
In some cases, they're already
continues
there.
to spiral out of
extreme
control.
social
Well,
distancing.
we always thought that was a bit of a
Gathering,
crowd,
socializing,
and now the
going
virus
to
is right
restaurants
there.
and bars, and they could still
Employees
be
to stay home.
much more vulnerable.
Those orders
than they
cover
realize.
75 million people across the United States.
At the beginning of 2020, when COVID-19 destroyed our world, the league was founded both out of necessity and the needs of the rowers. Our vision is to make this a professional league, much like NASCAR, tennis, football, baseball. It's made up of men and women, divided up into 3 divisions, under 19, elite over 19, and masters. Teams will face off in a playoff, and a champion will be crowned. May the best team win.
I'm Alex Del Sordo, and with me as always is Zach Epperson with the Rowers Choice Network. There is no racing today, okay? Zach and we have been working on this in the background for a long time. He announced it yesterday, the MVP. What are you to expect today? Pretty simple. We are going to be going over sort of recap of the league, what's been going on for the last 9 weeks. We're going to be bringing on the commish to break down really the 3 MVPs of what from the league of this year. And then lastly, interviews with those MVPs. Zach, this has been nothing but a crazy experience. It's been a wild roller coaster ride for the last 9 weeks. Now that we're getting into Thanksgiving, we're getting into the playoffs, how do you feel that we've done as a league from the rowers' perspective, from our perspective? How do you think it all went for those first 9 weeks?
Like you said, there were bumps and bruises, but we would not have it any other way. It was a learning experience for everyone. And I know when we wrap this whole thing up, we're going to touch on this again, but you, me, Wallen, CJ behind it, we're doing this for you, the viewers. And we're kind of like politicians where good politicians, where we listen to you. What do you guys want? And then we'll make it work somehow. Hell or high water, we will make it work. If you're in the car, Alex, if you are in a cornfield, if the sound's not working, but it's great. We're growing this together, and the first season maybe always the hardest, but damn, we did it.
Well, I want to talk about some of those favorite moments and least favorite moments that you and I experienced. And then right after that, we're going to bring in the commish, because you and him are really going to break down what it means to be an MVP of the league and what it looks like from that rower's perspective. But I'm going to go back from day one. Kelly Valdez, first ever live stream, just her not knowing anything about anything and the catch, her pure domination. That right there was like my favorite moment of the entire experience, not knowing what live streaming could be. Do you remember that first week ever?
Oh, I remember it perfectly, because for most of the races, I usually start them off. You hand it over to me and I start off, and it was, the first race, and we're like, all right, sit at the catch. Let's sit at the catch. Okay, someone tell her, just pick up the handle. And, that was the beginning of the CrossFitters. It was their coming out party where they don't know catch from finish, but they can bang. They can really pull.
And that set the tone for the entire year. It gave everyone like Chris Glasgow and all those non-water rowers the validation that they're strong. But there was one sort of falling off the cliff moment. Do you remember when the sound didn't work for the first, 40 minutes of the live stream?
And it was great. People, no sound. We're texting CJ, there's no sound. And he's like, I know, damn it. And it was the MacGruber meme where he's plugging in everything and he's trying to make it work. But hey, learning experience, man. And that's what I like most about our league is we are, what you see is what you get. We're not going to try and hide anything. This is, straight off the cuff.
And the straight off the cuff, that's a good transition into the memes. Oh my God, Zach, the memes, you did it. They were off the cuff. You'd hit us with it at like 10 o'clock at night. You'd say, what do you think? We wouldn't respond to you. It'd be blasting on there. And then we would like 3,000 views of these memes. Zach, walk me through that sort of growth and what you were trying to achieve with these ridiculous memes.
My wife, for the longest time, she said that my head is filled with useless information. And for the longest time, I was believing her until we started this. And now there's finally an outlet for me to share my art with the world, and people are embracing it. I just got done another one. I'm gonna let this settle. I'm gonna wait for Thanksgiving and then air it. But I mean, I'm glad. I love it when you guys like it, and the numbers speak for themselves.
Now, before I transition to you, there was two more moments for me. One was when we started trash talking with Moonburn. That set a new tone, right? That got teams fired up. It was trash talk central. People were jazzed up, and that's when you started doing a lot of like picking. What's the word I'm looking for? You were giving people nicknames, right? And then it carried on every single week. And then lastly, getting to know the athletes. Zach, you and I dove into this. Paris Miller, Chris Glasgow, Morgan Baillie, just to name just three, obviously the MVPs. That, to me, learning about these folks was really what made the season great for me. Now, what about you? What were some of your fan favorite, the fun moments in the league this year?
One of my fan favorites has to be, and I forget his name, but Crockpot, the Terminator, the Term. I mean, the kid was awesome. If you remember his race, he was just cool, calm, and collected, and he pulled this monster score. But then behind the scenes, what the viewers don't see is the parents reaching out saying, I've never seen this side of my son before. He's having so much fun. They're really, and his teammates were like, he doesn't even have Instagram. We have to show him how big of a star this kid is. And the whole internet, what do you like better? Do you like Crockpot or Terminator for a nickname? So that was definitely a highlight for me. And definitely when Kingslayer, when you had him on,
Yes.
you're coming in blind. Okay, you connect with Kingslayer. His shirt's off and he's waist deep in water. What was your reaction when you're like, okay, this kid doesn't have a shirt on and he's in like some body of water somewhere?
That to me, that culminated into these interviews, right? Like we were always looking for the next great thing, and he became, to me, that next great thing. He defined the league. He defined what it meant to just be an animal. Who cares? I'm just going to go after. I'm going to be me. And I think sort of who you are, like we've been saying, like we want to find the people who are just being them. They're not hiding behind the walls. They're superstars, and he is a superstar. Kingslayer, superstar. Zach, before we bring on the commish, because you're going to be coming on here in a few minutes, the power rankings, you kicked butt. That thing was ridiculous. To put up the power rankings, let's give the audience one last power rankings. Okay, let's close it out. Give me your top 10 before we go over to the commish. Give it to me.
All right, let's start from the top and go down. Number one, you have to have the Southeast Storm. They just have, the numbers, they have the points, but they have momentum and athletes. Southeast Storm, can't go wrong. Number two, you have the Big South Outlaws. They are coming for a vengeance. They are pissed off. They come roaring with world records and American records. It's like you're looking behind your back and you just see this machine coming towards you. So that's going to be tough to watch, or interesting to watch, tough to race against them. Number three, and again, off the cuff, this is right off the dome right now. Number three is Midwest Frozen Tundra. They are peaking at the right moment. I do pretty good in NCAA bracket March Madness. I don't watch a tip-off, but every year I do pretty well because I say, okay, what teams are trending at the right time? Whatever is Midwest Frozen Tundra. They are peaking at the right time. Number four, the Southwest Armada, always one of the strongest teams. I think they're going to not shock people, but I think they're really going to show up in the playoffs. That's going to round off a tough top four. And then you get number five, I believe, the Mid-Atlantic Founders.
Yep.
I think with their coaching, and I told you this, I think last week, coaches, this is their time to shine. They really, really have to take the time to make the best lineups. And I think that their coaching staff is really going to pull ahead in the playoffs. Number six, we have the New Con Empire. They were number 2 a couple weeks ago in points. I don't know how, but number 6, they find themselves. If you're in, you can win. They're in, they have a chance. I would not be shocked if they shock the world. Number 7, the Great Plains Herd. Calvin Cupp has done an amazing job that cannot be understated. He has done an amazing job being their coach. Every week they brought it. They did not lose their confidence. I think they just lacked a little bit in power. So they are at number 7. Number 8, I would put the New England Sound. Big Bill, they got number 8, right? Yeah, number 8. Yeah. Big Bill Tomlinson, they got a lot of power. I think they just lacked athletes. They lacked members. They needed Masters, Juniors, Open. They needed it all. But if they had that, I think they'd be a strong team. Who am I missing?
So
I know Strokes United is last.
And then you New England Sound 9.
Kodiak. Kodiak.
Kodiak.
Bump everyone down. Kodiak's number 7.
That's it. So there's your power rankings. So Zach, we got a live audience, 17 people. Thank you so much for being a part of this. Without the fans, we have nothing. But we're gonna bring in the commish now. So the commish, Mike Wallen, the guy he's our fearless leader. I'm gonna tell you this right now. Like among the group, Mike Wallen is the leader. He knows rowing better than all of us. He knows sports better than all of us. Now, Mike, you have been just like CJ in the background, manipulating things, moving things around. And I know you're really jazzed up about this. So I'm going to let you and Zach walk us through what it means to be an MVP and talk us through Paris, Chris, and Morgan.
Sure. I love a good MVP race in all leagues. I'm very into this one in the PRL, and I've been arguing in my own head for all 3 of them. And I feel like I'm on a Coaches Yelling episode competing against myself. And I don't know which version of my argument has won. I still can't decide. I think they all have such a strong case, and I'm excited to go over all 3 of them.
Zach, walk us through what you know about Chris Glasgow, and you guys banter on why he deserves to be the MVP.
Let's start with Morgan. I want to start with Morgan because she has the most standard argument, I think, of any MVP candidate. Okay, one of the most common arguments, one of the arguments that have won many athletes MVPs in many sports, is best player on the best team. Okay, the most dominant force on the most dominant team in the league, and that has been Morgan. If that's your criteria, we can stop watching the show. Morgan Baillie is the MVP. That's it. Okay. It's an extremely deep division, the Open Women, and she has gone unbeaten the whole season. Okay. And if you want to argue that maybe she wasn't up against the best athlete each week to get that record, she's also broke 4 American records. So not only did she beat who she was racing every time, but she also beat on 4 different distances any American female athlete ever who's attempted it to date. Okay. So she's going this fast and her team is winning every time. That is an amazing tandem that many MVPs in many leagues have. Okay.
Do you agree with that, Zach? Do you agree with that statement? Best player, best team.
I do agree with that. Like if you're the best player, but a crappy team, that really brings it down a lot. And I can already see, the numbers flying through Wallen's head. A tough position to be in, Wallen.
Yeah. To draw like an NBA or basketball analogy, she reminds me of a Breanna Stewart from the Seattle Storm or Kevin Durant, players who were on rosters that were really deep with talent, but they were the alpha dog. And they carried those teams to championships and individual MVPs. I think the season that Morgan has had is very similar to the seasons those players had.
Well, let me jump in really quick. Like, I think the audience needs to know how we're determining the MVP. So the group, including the coaches, so all the coaches, the 10 coaches of the league, including, so the 3 of us plus CJ, looked at certain criteria. Did you break a record? Okay, yeah. If you broke a record, American or world, you automatically qualified. Then the coaches would choose their best athletes from each team. So each coach chose the best player from their team. And at that point, we just kind of figured, the four of us just worked it out and said, these are the best three based on all the criteria. And Morgan, being the one who broke 4 American records, put her at the top. And I remember, Mike, the four of us had a conversation yesterday, and she was the first person you said. I mean, you said, hands down, she's the number one. She's the MVP right there, or at least out of the three. And then from there, it's who gets the final choice. So we have right now live on Instagram, we have all people, part of our league, part of our world, can vote. And I don't know, we've had 400, 500 votes come in just 24 hours. And I'll tell you guys, it's a dead even heat right now going to the finals. So you got a player's choice, right? So you have the people out there that determine, okay, they count as one vote. And then internally we count as the next. So moving on, I'd like to know your take on Chris Glasgow, Mike Wallen. Where do you put him?
Staying with this theme of best player on best team, we can bring in Chris Glasgow, who is the most valuable player on the first place Southeast Storm in the other conference. Okay. And it's not all best player doesn't always mean the most dominant scorer, right? It's the guy or the girl who makes the whole team better. Okay. You can use that equation of like, what would the team look like without this player in determining the MVP? And that's a key role too. Okay. So there's people out there that might say, well, Cersei's on this team and he's faster than Glasgow. So how can we put the second fastest guy on the Storm in the top 3 for the MVP? But that team's still fast without Cersei. Cersei's not on this team without Glasgow, right? Glasgow has recruited Cersei. He could have been top dog. He could have sat there and been the alpha of that squad, but he went out, he recruited Cersei, he recruited a bunch of these athletes on the team through social media because he wants to win. He's about the team. He's been the overt heart and soul of this squad. And he's done this living in Nowheresville, Mississippi, in a virtual league during a pandemic. And somehow he finds a way to make the team better and lift everybody up. That's almost impossible to do, but it's definitely something that many MVPs in many leagues have won the award on. And look, I'm not selling you on him being a recruiter or a cheerleader or Rudy Rudiger or something like that. The dude's fast as hell as well. All right. We named an event after the guy, the 108. Okay. He's dropping bombs. And he did that. He put a 108 on the screen on a live feed race. Most human beings will never see a 108 on their own erg screen or anywhere in their own erg room. Right. And he put it on live TV for us. So, to anyone who's arguing that it's just about pure dominance as a player, draw another basketball analogy to this guy. I think he's been Magic Johnson for this league this year. All right. Now, Magic Johnson, for people who might be too young to remember this, he also played on a championship team with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who is the all-time leading scorer in the NBA history. But it was Magic Johnson who was the MVP and finals MVP that year when they won the championship. He also went on to win 2 more MVPs in the NBA. And that's because he was just constantly the team guy. He was the guy that made everybody's game better. He lifted everybody up. The team just had confidence that everyone was going to perform because of his presence. And that's what Glasgow has done for the Storm this year.
So Zach, you love team players. Like that is your thing. Like you learned that in high school at Holy Spirit, at URI. How much does that matter in this league, being that team player? Because Mike put it great. He's Magic Johnson. Like people, if you say, give me the best players in the LA Lakers, Magic Johnson number 1 every single time, just because of the energy that he brought. Mike makes a good point. Glasgow brought the energy that no one else brought this year. What do you think about that?
He hit the nail on the head, except for the Magic Johnson. I would say he's the LeBron James of the league. Same thing.
Yeah.
And I think LeBron said a couple years ago when people were slighting him for the MVP race, because I think it was Westbrook and Harden were putting up these video game numbers, but he was like, hey, if you take them off the team, they'll still score the points. If you take LeBron James off of whoever team he was on, the Lakers or the Cavaliers, that team is done. They don't know, they can't put a win together. They mean so much, or he means so much for that team. Same thing for Glasgow. It's kind of like, everything's going to be okay if that guy or girl, the it factor, is in the lineup. And another moment, or another thing that we take into account, the MVP, is that MVP moment when the lights are on and everyone's watching did you come through? And he was doing the live stream, 108. He showed up. That was his MVP moment.
I want to say two things here. Number one, Chris Glasgow represents an aspect of the league that we collectively have been looking for. That's the non-rower, right? The person that has never touched a boat. And the league had more active members that are non-rowers than rowers. And Chris represented that. And I think there are a lot more Chris Glasgows out there than, say, Paris Millers or Morgan Bailey's, right? Because they don't know, like they've never been on a boat. The second thing I want to say is our league is super unique. Guys, we have 2 women and 1 male going after an MVP in a league full of men and women. We have not chosen a male and a female. We have said we are looking for the best. How excited are you, Mike, to not only announce the next one, Paris Miller, and talk about her, but that you as the head coach of CRF, head women's coach, that we have a league that has 2 women and 1 male going after an MVP?
I think it's really cool. And I think, was a big supporter of the decision not to do that. I think it's very unique. I think it's a really cool way to just say, hey, look, we're all on the same team together. We're all scoring points the same way. So why would we separate it? It's literally the most valuable player. We don't need to have 2. We can have 1. It's going to be a very hard choice. Even outside of these 3, there were amazing candidates to choose from, both men and women. And I'm going to argue the next point just as hard as I've argued the previous 2 candidates, and it's going to be a hard decision. But I love it. I think it's really unique, and I think it's a really cool way to have the genders competing against each other and with each other, and being viewed on the same spectrum of awards.
So Paris Miller. Now let me just dive into this one, okay? Because we've all you know where I stand on this vote here. Paris Miller, world record, American records. She's 16 years old. She has elevated every person in the Midwest frozen tundra. And as Zach has said it earlier, they're peaking. She's peaking. Our third and final MVP candidate, Mike Wallen, break down Paris Miller for us.
So another very common way to win the MVP, or another line of thinking towards who would get it, is if you just simplify it and you say, okay, who is the best player in the league? If we had to redraft the whole league, who would be the number 1 pick, right? And if you're going by that criteria, then I think it's hard to argue that Paris Miller isn't the MVP. Okay, she doesn't just hold American records, which is important because it's an American league, but she holds world records, which means no one in the history of the world has beaten this athlete for this given amount of meters or time. That's a remarkable thing to own at any age. And it's not like she's, the argument against her not being on the best team, it's not like she's scoring 30 points a game for, the last place team that's 0-10, right? She's in one of the top 4 teams. She's on a team that certainly can win this championship, and they're going to be an extremely hard out for the Armada, the Storm, whoever makes it up against them, even the Outlaws, who have been strong all year. And then 2 other really key things to consider. She's 16 in a U19 division. So she's already handicapping herself against the other top athletes in this division with 2 whole years of physical development not in her arsenal that they have. I mean, you think back to who you were as an athlete at 16 versus 18, and 99% of you are going to say, like, world of difference. Okay. And another insanely deep division. Okay. Gabby Graves is a record holder in multiple categories. She's up against her. She's a national team rower. She raced Camahort in week 1. And you can argue that, hey, well, she lost one there, but she didn't really lose that one. She tried to break the world record on the first piece, came up just short. And even though she lost piece 2 and 3, she still cleared more total meters than Camahort on the whole workout, doing it in the most inefficient way possible. So, I mean, that was more of a blunder of execution. It certainly wasn't everyone knew who was the fastest person in the room that day. Okay. And then another key thing for her, you kind of brought this up with Glasgow too, is she goes live, right? She's gone live more time than any other athlete, and she has been lights out every single time. And most of the athletes each week are doing these pieces multiple times, and they're sending in their best score, which is fine. And it doesn't take away from the time or the achievement at all. But there is a difference being, hey, I got one shot with everybody watching, and this is the one that counts. And every time she's done that, she has absolutely balled out. Basketball analogy for Paris Miller, Michael Jordan, or dare I say Cheryl Miller, all right, who most people would argue is the best female basketball player of all time. She scored 105 points in a game. How about that? 3-time NCAA MVP. They didn't even have the WNBA yet for Cheryl Miller.
And she's an Indiana native too. I mean, that's an Indiana native.
Right. That's right. And yeah, I mean, we all know Jordan. And the commonality between all three of them is, look, when they're on TV, when they're doing their thing, everybody is holding their breath because they know something special is going to happen. And it's happened every time. And that's why she's in this final three and has a great shot to win this.
And Zach and I were there obviously live each way, but when she hit that world record, we had over 95 people watching live. It was that MVP moment, right? She had one shot, one chance, she hit it. And it was lights out, man. We had so much chatter.
She broke the world record earlier that week in practice and then re-broke her own world record live. So she beat everyone in the history of the world earlier that week. And then she went on live TV and topped what she already did. So yeah, that was an MVP moment for sure.
Zach, can you run down don't break it all down, but how many American records and how many world records were broken in our league this year? Can you think back what that was?
Right, I think it's 19. And if you're adding that one, Wallen, 20. So the one that Paris did behind closed doors, that would make it 20. If we're also counting the one that Moonburn did, he broke it, but then CRC broke it like minutes later. So I think we're up to 20. And like when we started doing not the 108 or the 333, but when we started doing these world record attempts, I was kind of naive. I was like, yeah, this league is super fast. I'm sure we can. And that first night, I don't think we got any American records or world records. I was like, I think this is going to be harder than I thought. So Paris breaking 2 world records, breaking it and then breaking it again, that's a huge feather in her cap. And also, I'll end it on this. It's the star power. Right. She walks into a room and it's like everything stops. And you hear it from the girls that race her on live TV. We ask them, how was it? And they said, listen, I'm just happy to be here. You know, I'm happy that I get to race Paris Miller. It's that wow factor.
So before we let you go here, Wallen, is there any last words you want to say to the audience that are going to be voting for the next couple of days on that MVP? Is there one last message you want for them?
I want to stick around and watch these interviews. I'm still undecided. I meant everything I said in breaking them down. I went into it saying, why is this person the MVP? And there's a lot of evidence for all three of them as to why they should win the award. They're all worthy of it. Watch these interviews. I'm going to watch them. I'm very interested to hear what they have to say, why they think they should be the MVP, and you know what they think about the other candidates and why they might potentially be the winner as well.
Well, thanks for being here, Mike. We're going to sign you off here, and we're going to be bringing on Paris Miller in a couple seconds here. Zach, as we transition Mike out of here, we get into the interviews. Do you agree with everything that Mike had said? I mean, do you have any arguments against what he had said?
I know this makes for bad TV, but no. I mean, everything as he's talking, I'm like, he's stealing my thunder. That's exactly what I was going to say.
Well, that's it. Now, Paris, welcome to the show. You are live now with us here on YouTube. Paris, we just have spent the last 10 minutes talking about what makes an MVP in our league. So my first question for you as we get into this here is, what have you enjoyed the most being part of the Premier Rowing League?
I've loved being able to meet so many new people and just getting the experience of a competition, even in a pandemic, just getting to meet new people and grow closer to my team, even though we're virtual.
I love that. Now, Zach let the cat out of the bag before we wanted him to yesterday. But when you found out on social media, mind you, that you were the MVP or a candidate for the MVP, what went through your head? What was going through your emotions as you were announced as one of the final candidates?
I was just scrolling through Instagram and I came across their story and your guys' story, and I was shocked. I was truly shocked and honored. Just all of it. It doesn't feel real.
That is wonderful. Now, Paris, we all know that you are an absolute animal when it comes to training. You know, we know the story. You lose first week 1, and then you run 25 miles. What are you doing between today, right, week of Thanksgiving, and then your first round playoffs? What are you going to be doing for your training?
My coach has me on a daily plan, and I've been following that for a couple weeks now, and also this past year. But I'll just be erging and cross training.
That's
Over
it. Okay, moving right along. What would it mean to you to be named the MVP of the first ever Premier Rowing League?
It would be insane. Rowing League is full of incredible athletes, and to even be chosen to be a contester, that's amazing. So actually winning it, it would be a dream.
Zach, do you have a question for her until we get to the final one? Do you have a question for Paris?
I mean, I know this is, kind of hard to believe, but you're only 16. We're putting the whole spotlight on you. But if you could send a message to all the other juniors out there, U19, what would a message be for them in terms of training and setting goals and pushing themselves?
I mean, I would just say work hard now and you get to be successful in the end. I mean, the pain is temporary. And if you just accept it and know it's going to hurt, then you'll get to be successful.
Let's talk about pain really quick here. So Zach and I sat and watched you break a world record on the erg. You had fans around you, you had your coxswain with you, and there have been a lot of chatter on social media with you. That image of you being hugged by your teammates after breaking, gotten like 3,000 or 4,000 likes in 24 hours, which is insane. Walk us through that 500-meter world record. Now that you've come off of that high, and how much pain were you going through? What was the mental struggle, or more importantly, what was that excitement level as you were approaching the last 100 meters that you knew you were going to break it?
I knew it was going to hurt no matter what happened. So I just wanted to make it worth it. And having my team there, the adrenaline rush, it all helped. And at that point, it was just about the team. I wanted to do it for them as well as make myself proud. But, it was just the acceptance that I knew it was going to hurt and pushing through it.
Well, Paris, you are in my world, and I have said this. I am so impressed with what you've done this year. What is one more thing you want to tell the fans out there as they're coming down to voting? What's the one thing, or maybe a couple things you want to say on why you deserve the MVP award this year?
All the nominees are just as deserving, if not more. But I would say the one thing that makes me different is that I'm just like you, or just like the teenagers or kids watching this. I'm going through the same struggles in quarantine. I'm doing the same things. I like the same shows. But it would be an amazing opportunity. But at the end of the day, rowing is a team sport and it's about the team. So, me winning this would mean I would be representing them and not just myself.
Paris, you did fantastic. Thank you so much for being part of this interview. We're going to sign you off here. We're going to be bringing Chris Glasgow in for our interview. Thank you, Paris, for being here. Zach, what an amazing young woman. I mean, come on.
No, I mean, she reminds me, I know there's not a lot of hockey fans out there, especially not a lot of Flyers fans, but Carter Hart, he's our goalie. He's going to be the goalie for a long time, as long as he doesn't drive a Porsche. But he's 22 years old. And this kid's been followed since he was Paris's age, and so soft-spoken, so well-spoken, put the team on his back kind of deal. He reminds me a lot of Paris.
I love that. Now we're going to be bringing here Chris Glasgow, another candidate for the MVP. Chris, can you hear us okay right now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I love it. So Chris, listen, we're just going to jump right into these questions here. What have you enjoyed the most being part of the Premier Rowing League this year?
Man, I gotta sort of copy Paris's answer. It's just meeting all these people, meeting you guys, meeting everyone on my team, just meeting a whole community of people and realizing there's this whole another little, subculture of people out there, and they're rowers, and they're weird and funny, and they put a lot of work in, man. And that's been the best part for sure.
I love that. Now, we said it with Paris, you found out via social media that you were a final candidate for being the MVP of the first ever Premier Rowing League. How did it feel when you learned that you were going to be one of the final three here?
It's a little strange because, like y'all said, I'm not even the fastest guy on my team, man. I'm over here racing with Ryan, and he's just crushing me on all these splits. I beat him in week one. But that's because he wasn't sure. I think it was his first time on an erg in like 6 months. And he was like, yeah, I just had to test it out. So he gave me that one. But man, just honored, dude. It's really cool. It's been a big part of my life for the last, I don't know, 8 or 9 weeks, however long we've been doing it. And so man, yeah, it's just really cool. Really honored to even be considered.
Now, so you train 24/7. I looked at your Instagram like this morning, and you were doing front squats. Like the training is a big part of your life. What are you going to be doing for the next 2 weeks as you prepare yourself for the playoffs for your team?
I'm gonna rest a little bit more than I did for that 500, man. That thing put me on the ground. But just normal. We just started 2K training, right? So I'm gonna be doing a bunch of fast stuff for the next couple of weeks, and hopefully get a couple of days rest before the actual first playoff race.
You know, so one of the things, this is a question that we didn't prepare you for. You know, you said about rowing as a subculture. It's a strange group of people, but your non-rowing friends, are they following you? Are they watching you in this league week after week?
A couple of them are. I had my wife's friend this morning went to vote for me. She goes, I don't know what this is or what it means, but I voted for your husband. So I don't know if she's following y'all yet, though. We're working on that. Some of them do, man. You know, I spam my Instagram with, you know, pictures of the PM5 and of Erg Zone. And, you know, unless you're a rower, it's just a bunch of crap on the screen. So who knows, man? I don't know.
So what would it mean to you with all that you've done, this journey of learning rowing? What would it mean to you to be named the MVP of this league?
Vindication for a non-rower, right? You hear a lot of crap talked about these CrossFitters and strong guys, and man, I'm here to vindicate, you know, all of us. We take it serious. We want y'all to take us serious. No, I'm just speaking, man. It would just be cool. It would be amazing to win. But man, dude, the people I'm going against, they probably deserve it a little bit more than me. But man, I'm honored to be here, dude. I'm having the time of my life doing this. So.
Zach, what question do you have here for Mr. Glasgow?
Oh man, there's so many. I know we're tight on time. Stars aren't born; they're made, and I think this was the springboard. You're no longer, you know, gonna be an unknown. You know, everyone is gonna know in the rowing community. Everyone is gonna know Glasgow, like Madonna, Cher, Glasgow. Just that one name, people are gonna know about it. But if you had to vote, well, I guess you do get a vote. Paris or Morgan for the MVP, who gets your vote?
Just because I've been watching her race since the first or second week, man. Paris, dude, she's just it's incredible watching her. I wish I had drive, and I don't know. I just wish I had that kind of drive when I was that young to do something like that. I've had a hell of a journey in my life. I'm 36 now. But man, just to have that kind of drive at that young, that kind of laser focus is amazing.
I love that answer. So my last roundup question here is, what do you want to tell the fans out there, rowers, non-rowers, indoor rowers? Why do you, Chris, deserve to be the MVP of the league?
Man, honestly, I think like in a vacuum, if you just look at me, I can put up some fast splits. I'm fun to watch on these short races. I'm a big dude. Don't let this computer screen fool you, man. It's not making my shoulders pop. I'm just fun to watch, man. But honestly, if you put me against these other two ladies, I can't really give you a great answer, man. I think they're crushing it. American records, world records. They're on some good teams. So I don't know. I'm just happy to be involved with them too, man. Just to be in the same room, you know, the same conversation. That just makes me happy. So.
That is wonderful. Chris, we're going to be jumping over to Morgan here for our final
Awesome.
interview. Thank you so much for being part of this, man, and good luck in the MVP voting.
All right, fellas. I appreciate it. Y'all have a good one.
Zach, you know, I just love his accent, this Mississippi drawl. He is the non-rower that we've been looking for. And you're right, Zach. He is going to be that person that everyone remembers in this league.
Right. And to his point, he said, you know, I want you to take CrossFitters seriously. You know, anyone can pull hard for a minute, 500 meters. Alex, he pulled a 155 for a marathon. That's like 43,000 meters.
Fast.
That's fast, and you need to have some acumen of the technique of the stroke, and he does it.
So what's funny, man, you look at Paris's response, she's just like you, right? She's just your average 16-year-old girl, watches the shows, does all the thing. Chris says, I want to be taken seriously. And you know what? So many rowers say that. Like, us as rowers are not taken seriously in the world of athletics. And Chris, that was his reason. He said, you know what, vote for me because I want rowers out there to know that we're serious people. What do you think about that statement?
Well, the only time, Alex, that non-rowers get to see rowing is every 4 years at the Olympics. And I have a lot of non-rowing friends, and they say you're just moving backwards. And they're going at 38, 39 strokes per minute, but they make it look so effortless. Right. So they don't see how hard it really is. And you have to be an athlete to be good at rowing.
Guaranteed. Now we have the final interview. Morgan, I am so thrilled to have you on here. We're going to jump right into this. You are an absolute dominating figure in this sport. Mike Wallen wanted to talk about you right away. You're the best player and the best team. But what have you enjoyed the most in this league? So in this whole 9 weeks, what have you enjoyed the most?
It's been pretty fun to be like a part of our team, and we've got our coach Hodge who's always like pumping us up. But I really like the short distance stuff, and obviously, and with the training that we've been doing, we're more in like a longer training phase for the team that I'm on. So it's been nice to be able to kind of do some short, quick speed stuff.
I love that. Now, and that was the whole point of the Premier League. We were trying to get away from that long, boring stuff. But so Zach, we joked earlier, he let the cat out of the bag on social media. So you found out on Instagram that you are going to be a final candidate for the MVP. How did it feel learning that you were the top 3?
It's a really big honor. I feel like there's so many good athletes, and I feel like there's just been, it's not just rowers that have come together. There's a lot of really good, just straight athletes. So it's just such an honor. It's really nice.
I love that. Now, training, you talked about, you're personally with your team, you're doing longer distance stuff. Your team has a bye that first round. So you got 2.5 weeks really until you're competing. What are you going to be doing between now and then to prepare yourself for the final rounds?
So I'm on the Oklahoma City high performance team. So we have our coach Riley. She's our coach. So we'll be obviously following our training program from that. We do have a 2K coming up in a few weeks, and I think we're doing some short, quick stuff the day of Thanksgiving. So I guess that will be some good preparation for us to get ready for when we come back and hit the playoffs. But just keeping on rowing and keeping it up, and hopefully getting some short, quick stuff in so we're not too slow when time comes around.
So I've known Riley, Coach Riley, for many, many years. I don't know if you knew that, but she was a DC. I've known her 12 years. And knowing that she's coaching you, look out. I mean, Zach, look out, world.
She's the best. Yeah, she's really awesome.
Morgan Baillie's coming. So what would it mean to you and to all that you've done in this journey of rowing to be named the MVP of the Premier Rowing League?
Well, personally, I think it would be really cool for our team since I think you guys thought we would be pretty bad.
Yeah.
Right?
I did. Not. Yeah.
So I think it'd be just pretty exciting for our team that we might have an MVP from, pre-tournament being named possibly the last in the league.
I like that. Now, this is an off-the-cuff question, but what do you think about being up against the 16-year-old Paris Miller, right? So she has goals of trying to be on the national team. She wants to race the Olympics one day. What is it like being up against a 16-year-old that eventually you could possibly be rowing with, hopefully in the future?
Yeah, no, I think it's really, really awesome. She obviously has like so much power, and she's so young, and just like, it's like natural, she's just a natural build, and she really knows how to use like her size and her strength. So it's really cool to think that, maybe, hopefully, eventually, we could possibly be rowing together, and that it all like started from something like this.
I love that. Now, Zach, you're on mute right now, but Zach, do you have a question for Morgan?
Yeah. So I know this personally living with my wife. I am the second best athlete in our household. How is your husband dealing with that? That his wife can, wears the pants in the house?
Um, yeah, I think it hurts his ego a little bit sometimes, but he's pretty good about it. He knows, you know, I always say, I'm like, he could be really good at stuff like this, and he could have been a really good rower and stuff. He gets hurt a lot. So I'm surprised he hasn't, in this. But he's quite a good athlete. I think he knows that. Besides that, sometimes he's prone to injury.
I love that. Now, to the final question here, what do you want to tell fans as they're voting for you? Why do you deserve the honor of being the MVP of the league?
I think it would be, mostly like our team's done really well, and just if anyone likes an underdog, we were obviously named the underdog, so just to be able to give it back to the team and show everyone what our team's really about. And I think our coach did a really good job setting us up for success throughout it. So it would really just be an honor, I think, for the whole team. And that's why we'd like to have it.
Oh, man. Morgan, thank you so much for being on here. Zach and I are going to be doing our closing remarks to finish up, but we are so honored for you to be a part of this. Good luck at OKC Training Center, and good luck trying to be the MVP of the league this year.
Thank you. I'll let Riley know you said hello.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Zach, I love these responses. I mean, come on. But, the one thing that we're trying to teach rowers is you got to be selfish a little bit. She wants the MVP for her team. I love that. That's great. That warms the heart. But at the end of the day, the MVP is supposed to be the best player, maybe on the best team. I don't know. You broke down. We watched the interviews. If you had to give your vote right now, put you on the spot. I'm going to put you on the spot. Who do you take? Who deserves that MVP?
They all deserve it. They all deserve it. I don't know. I'm
You're gonna say wait. You're gonna say wait.
I'm gonna say wait because I have to do some thinking about it. I got to do some praying on it because it is so close. Like what it is on Instagram, there's an outpouring of people. And let me just say this real quick. Again, you need to follow us. It was so close, and we've been getting hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of votes that we need to whittle it down. You need to follow us on Instagram. That's it. You don't need to buy anything. You don't need to tag a friend. Just follow us, and then we'll count that vote. But it is razor thin, Alex. Three way across.
I said this last night when you blasted it yesterday. I said Paris is in the league, clear as day. We were tracking it, and then I wake up in the morning and I'm like, I think it's a dead heat across all three athletes.
Where have I seen this before where I thought it was in the bag and I wake up and it's not the case? But no, it's just an outpouring, and that's great to see. The numbers don't lie, how many people are invested. And you just said it, that you need to be a little selfish. But for all the people, all the coaches sending us hate mail, how this league is not built for rowing, you said it you heard it from every nominee. I want to win it for my team. Yes, I'm on the pedestal here. The spotlight's on me right now, but it would mean so much for my team to win. That is what we're doing. Yes, some people, Moonburn, Kingslayer, Paris, these are like household names now, and they'll be the first to tell you it's all about the team. That's what we want.
That's exactly right. And, jokingly, we had Mike Wallen texting us in the background, and he says, this is the second most exciting election of the year. And it's the truth. It's the truth. And
It's the truth.
Zach, I get so starstruck watching these athletes, but I also get so excited about the fans. I mean, we actually have fans now. It's taken us 9 weeks. But fans, thank you so much for being a part of this. Zach, we might end up with a couple thousand votes at the end of this. That's a possibility, my man. And that just shows that rowing is growing. Rowing needs what we've created, right? And we're not taking all the credit here, all right? Sure, we started the ball rolling. We got the ball rolling for the league. But it's been all of your energy, all of your excitement that has gotten this to where it is today. And Zach, the future is steep for us here. The future is steep for this league. So when does voting end? How long are we giving people to vote for them to make the announcement next week into the playoffs? Do you know when it ends?
Yeah, I think we said tomorrow night, 12 o'clock Wednesday.
Okay.
Let's go Pacific. Let's go Hawaiian. 12 o'clock Hawaiian for
So
all our
5
island people.
5 a.m. Thanksgiving
Yeah.
Day. I love that.
At 12 o'clock Hawaiian, we are closing the polls. And just like in the presidential election, vote early, vote often, but you need you need to follow us on Instagram. That is it. Just follow, and then we'll count the votes, and then we'll vote. The people get their vote, and it will be, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know who I'm voting for right now. I'll tell you a hint. I think it's a 2-horse race for me, but that is it. I am split.
Wow.
I am
Okay.
split.
Okay, I'm super loud about this, and everyone knows it. I've already placed my vote, and you know who it is. So I'll leave it there. I'll leave it there. But for all you watching, tuning in, thank you so much for being part of the Rowers Choice Network and the Premier Rowing League. Zach, thank you again for being a part of this. We're gonna sign out here. That's it. We're done.
I'll see you later, man.
Everybody.